Allie, do you know who popularized the simple old jumping jack?
Actually, I do. That is Jack LaLanne, the Godfather of Fitness. And on today's episode, we actually have the First Lady of Fitness, Elaine LaLanne, who was married to Jack for 50 plus years. And she is going to tell us all about what it's like to be a healthy 98-year-old.
Before we dive in, let's give a shout out to Alexandra Evangelia. Thank you for your support. Let's talk to Elaine.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Allie Kerr.
And I'm Shauna Kaminsky. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
We are so excited to have Elaine LaLanne. Welcome, Elaine, to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast.
Well, thank you. I'm so delighted to be here, and I think it's going to be so much fun because we're all going to have girl chat, right?
It's absolutely
just girls talking. Exactly.
And we can't wait to just hear more about you so that our listeners can be inspired by just your journey of I think you just turned, didn't you just have a birthday? 98?
Yes, in March I turned 98. Yep. So there's a lot of stuff in here now.
and that the brain is full, and we want to. So take us. We're going to kind of start. First of all, most people talk about Jack LaLanne, your late husband, Jack LaLanne, and many people may know you through Jack LaLanne, but we want to talk about Elaine today, and we want to find out more about the lady, the first lady of fitness. And do you go by Elaine or
Lala?
I got
that name, but I said I'm not the first lady of fitness. But they tagged that, you get a tagline,
Yes. So do you go by Lala? What do you like to be called, Elaine?
Lala. Yeah.
Lala.
You know how that happened? Well, one time Jack and I were being introduced by this couple, and one of them said, "This is Elaine. LaLanne." Jack says, "Just call her Lala." Lala LaLanne.
It's a tongue twister, Elaine LaLanne. I guess people could have trouble with that.
Yeah, no.
So Lala. And so we know that we would not be talking to you probably, especially in the fitness world, if it weren't for Jack LaLanne. And Jack LaLanne probably wouldn't be Jack LaLanne if it weren't for Elaine LaLanne. So tell us how you were a career woman back in the 40s, right?
Yes. I started in 1949 in San Francisco, and it was an hour and a half every day. I was modeling through a modeling agency, and then somebody just said, "Well, I'm starting a TV show." Les Malloy said, and I was demonstrating a 45 record player. Lady said, "Can I get Bing Crosby on that record?" And I said, "No, but you can get Perry Como. Sounds just like him." And then he came over to me and said, "I'm starting a TV show, and it's going to be an hour and a half every day. We're going to have the 12-piece orchestra left over from radio, and it's going to be interviews and variety show." So he told me who to call, and maybe, "Do you think you could do it?" I said, yes. I didn't know what I was doing, but I could. But I said yes, and so he said, "Well, call this one, do this one," and then they put me up at Sutro Mansion, where the transmitter was. In those days, we went on. We were going on at 6:00 at night, and then at 4:30, that's when this show was starting, and so we went on at 4:30 to 6 every day, and then we had interviews and we were at the Sutro Mansion where the transmitter was, because there was no studios right then and there. And so that's when people would get lost coming up to Twin Peaks, and it was lots of fun. Those days were really, the early days of TV was lots. And we cannot show any videos or anything of those days because there wasn't any tape. Amtech started coming out with tape during that time, but we don't have any of
So
that.
it was all live.
Everything was live, and you have to just do everything live. Yep.
Wow.
One time we were showing a car, and they had, in order to get to the studio, they had to take the door off, and then Les was he was opening the door to show this wonderful car. Bang! The door falls off the car.
The door fell off. Oh no. Nothing like live TV. You got to be ready for anything.
Yeah, well, it was funny then, I guess, but it was, we've often laughed at it, many times after that.
Now
Those
you were a swimmer
years.
too, didn't you? Do something with swimming. You and Shauna have some stuff in common. What is the Follies? You were part of the Follies back when
Well,
you were younger.
I swam in the Minneapolis Aqua Follies. I'm from Minnesota, so I came out in 1945. My boyfriend was killed in Iwo Jima during the war in 45, and then I went for a vacation to see my cousins, and actually I stayed and I went to NBC UCLA Radio Institute because there was no TV then, and because I thought it would be fun to go into radio and communications and whatnot like that. But that's how I got started, and then one thing leads to. You'll find in life that one thing leads to another, and I'm sure you girls have found that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so we have, and it's a learning process. All we have, each day is exciting because if you think about it, you found something today or yesterday. Every day there's something new, and it's exciting. Life is exciting, and this is what you girls are trying to get across to your viewers, that live life as an exciting life, not as a pity party life. Too many people have their pity parties, and they just feel sorry for themselves, and so if you get down to that point, then you got to take yourself up by the bootstraps and say, look, let's get with the program here. This is not necessary. And
So would you say that a secret to healthy aging, being that you're 98, would be optimism and finding something to get excited about?
definitely, that's one of the criterias in order to live a long life and a happy life. Because I lost my daughter when she was 21. Okay, so I could have, and we had just got back, and I just found it out, and it was hit me like a ton of bricks because we were in Europe and she was in summer stock, and it just, you just want to collapse, but you've got to find the strength within yourself to, okay, I got to deal with this. The first thing I thought of, I said, you just want to break down and then what am I going to do? But the thing is, you've got a life to live, and that person has has gone on to the next expression of their lives. But you have more to do, and so you have to think about, I can't change things. You can't change what has happened. What happened yesterday? Jack always said, yesterday is gone. Tomorrow isn't here yet. So the most important day of your life is right now. And you cannot change what's happening. So now if you have a big tree that falls in front of in a road, and you're in your car, you can't get through. Now you either turn back, or you find a way to get around that tree to go to your destination. You've got to get to that destination. You've got to get to where you want to go. Because if you turn back, it's there's no going ahead.
And we all go through stuff in life, and you've definitely, I mean, so you've already mentioned two losses, the loss of a boyfriend and then a loss of a child. And how old were you in that? What stage of life were you?
How old was I when she died?
Mhm.
Oh, let's see. I gotta count.
Or around about. I'm just curious. So she was 21. So she was a young adult at 21.
She was 21, and she was born in 52. I
Mhm.
was born in 26.
Yeah, and
She was I was probably 27.
so, but you early on. I mean, you dealt with some big losses,
Yeah,
and then,
I was, it was still young. I mean,
mhm,
me is young.
yeah,
But,
yeah,
she would be, you got to think of that when she's gone, and she was beautiful. And had a great heart, but I couldn't change it, so can't bring her back. So I have to think about those wonderful memories and
mm,
on those. I live on memories, and I don't live on memories, but I mean they're helpful.
yeah.
Are helpful, so that's important.
It's an
Let's
open
go
book.
back to the story of how you met Jack, because both you and Jack were instrumental in changing the world of health and fitness. Whether you had set out as a goal, that was the end result. You changed it and you're continuing to change it, even as a 98-year-old. We're going to talk about that. But how did Jack come into your life?
Well, as I told you, I was on the television, and I got this call from Oakland, California, and I was booking the show, appearing on the show, and they said, "I've got this guy who could do push-ups for your whole show." And I thought, well, that's great. Uh, Push-ups for the whole show, and that's 90 minutes. So he came over, did push-ups for the whole show, left after the show, and I'm hello and goodbye. But and it wasn't until 1951 when he started his TV show on KGO TV in San Francisco, and then we were downtown in those days, and then and we were in the newsroom, and I used to come in early in the morning to get the for the day, and so his show went on at 9 o'clock. If I came in around 8:30, they were talking, getting ready for the show, and he came over to my desk because every day I would come in with my cigarette and my chocolate donut, and he says, the only thing good about the donut is the hole in the middle, and then and then he said, you should be apples and bananas and oranges and things like that instead of this chocolate, you know. And I, oh yeah,
Ah,
brought this guy over from Oakland, California, out to his belly, right out to here, and he said, "I'm going to take 30 pounds off of that man in 30 days," and he did. I mean, well, the band did, His name was Bill Mayhood. Could you believe that? I remember that guy. And so Bill took off all this weight, and I was amazed. And so I went home one night, looked at myself in the mirror, and said, "The sands of time are shifting." And so I started going to a little class he had at noon a couple times a week. And then I got interested in exercising, and then I started listening to what he had to say. And I said, "This guy makes sense," because I had swam in the Minneapolis Aqua Follies, and now this is not. Remember, this is 1951, and I left California in 1945, and that's the last time I went swimming. So that's probably the last time I really did exercises. So anyway, that's how I met Jack, and then of course I tell everybody we danced at a company party one time and dancing ever since.
and he was like
It's a long story short.
he was like an evangelist of fitness, health and fitness, and you know, not saying things that were common back then. So what were you thinking when you? So you resonated, like you heard what he was saying, and you were like,
Oh,
"This makes sense to me."
one time one of our very first dates, he ordered this salad, with all these raw vegetables and raw mushrooms. And the waiter says, "Raw mushrooms." This was in the 50s. So, things have changed a lot. Everything he preached then is what is happening now.
Which is amazing.
I think.
That yeah,
He was
and
very
it's
much ahead of
amazing
his
that
time.
yeah, ahead of his time, and that it resonated with you, and then you and he that started your like what when did you get married? You were married for how
Oh, we
long?
went together. We the fellow that I worked with, bought a radio station, and so I left television with him, and then Jack. In the meantime, I started dating him. He said, and I had promised Les to go with him because he bought this radio station and fired everybody, and then there's just he and I running the station. Then he hired a lot of new country and western. I used to play Elvis Presley on Sun Records. I don't care if the sun don't shine, get in the oven, you know. But so that's how I met Jack, and then we started going out to dinner after my show on TV, and then when I left to go to the radio station with Les, then Jack said, I'd love to have you work for me too. And I said, well, I promised Les I got to, fulfill until things get settled down. So then I went to work for for Jack, and we started out with, he had this idea for the glamour stretcher, the first protein drink, the first protein bar, and all those things came out of Jack's head. And of course, I'm there writing down. And we used to go out to dinner, and he'd say, "Well, write this down, write that down." So I would spend my dinners, writing down stuff. But that's how we got started, with selling product, and that's how we kept on the air is selling what he believed in. He would not sell anything that he didn't believe in. So that's when he came out with the protein drink, instant breakfast. That was ours in 1955. That we came out with that in San Francisco, and then and then the protein drink, the glamour stretcher, the protein bars, so many things that he invented, and he invented in the 30s. Of course, Jack will say something. Remember that? That was in the 30s. I said, Jack, I was 10.
So he invented some things before you, and then y'all were working together. And so a lot of people that are listening maybe most of them know who Jack LaLanne and Elaine LaLanne are. Some of them that maybe don't use many of the things today that are thanks to Jack LaLanne and Elaine LaLanne. I see why you went with Lala. I'm having trouble
That's all
saying
right.
that.
I'll answer to anything,
Yeah. So yeah, like the Smith machine, the leg extension, those are things he invented before y'all married, right?
I, I
Let's
still
see.
have I still have those machines, and
Yes.
they're all they're all put welded together. It's the first prototype. So I have
Hmm.
the prototypes and the leg extension. I have the prototype of the squat machine, which is now the Smith machine. And Rudy Smith was a good friend of ours in Virginia. I swam with Virginia in the Minneapolis Aquafly, so that we were very close. Anyway, that's how it it just evolves. But if you have an idea and you pursue that idea, then things start to happen. It's like a snowball. It kind of starts rolling and rolling, and then something else comes along, another thing comes along, and there's a lot of times when you make a mistake, and you do the wrong, you make the wrong decision, and that's always not very happy a time in your life. But you, if you just keep rolling along, one idea triggers another idea. I'm sure you two girls have the same thing. You get an idea, she gets an idea. You get an idea, she gets an idea, and that's how it
So,
happens.
would you say that you and Jack, I mean, you were married for over 50 years
Yes,
and you were very complimentary?
6 years we went together.
Yeah. So you were dated for 6 and then
6.
married for over 50.
51?
What's that?
How long were you married? Was it 51 years?
52.
52 years.
After the 6 years.
After the 6 years.
We didn't live together, in those. I was married before, so
Right.
and but so that's but we just we started out just having dinner and ship and whatnot, and then things rolled along. But we didn't have anything to do with breakups of any marriage or anything like that.
Yeah.
If you were thinking of that.
No,
No.
but y'all had this.
That was not in our deal.
Y'all had an amazing partnership, it sounds like. And so when we're drinking our protein shakes, we need to thank Lala and Jack.
And Jack.
Yes, that's he how that happened. We in the office in Oakland, we had a little health food store down below the 5,000 foot gym, and so I had my office above on the mezzanine of this little place, and then down below we put in a little health food store, and so that's one day we're blending up a whole bunch of stuff, protein. We're blending up some non-fat milk solids and some wheat germ and wheat germ oil and a whole bunch of stuff, and we put it in there. And Jack says, this could be an instant breakfast. And so he said, let's go over to my friend Mel Williamston, and he's a biochemist and he works out the gym and he's a good friend. Let's go over and see what he has to say, and I'll tell him what I think I should go in it. Voila, we had instant breakfast, and we put it on the market up there. You meant to see, Jack would never come out with a product unless he talked about nutrition. Unless he talked, exercise and nutrition go hand in hand. Exercise is king, nutrition's queen. Put them together and you got a kingdom. So he always had something to do with nutrition if it had to do with exercise, or vice versa. So
did Jack believe back then when he was making those protein products, the protein drinks, and he was an advocate of more protein, that he was a firm believer in that? Was he, again, ahead of his time?
And he was a firm believer. The first thing I learned from him is do everything in moderation. And I always remember him saying, you don't eat 100 apples a day, do you? If one is good, the other isn't, So anyway,
The moderation.
That's how we.
So true.
A lot of things. Yeah, we just keep venturing ahead and have a positive attitude. The most important thing in aging is having a positive attitude and not thinking about your age and not thinking about, oh, I'm getting old. And he said, when we think we're old, and then people often neglect themselves. They die of neglect, not of old age. A lot of them. So aging is, and I love this what Jack said about aging. He said, aging is like a sport. You've got to train for it. So that's something to really think about, and you can always improve. You can always improve yourself. So, and then I think when we talk about aging, you have to have something to do, someone to love, and something to look forward to. and I think that's the most important things that that it, have a hobby, find a hobby, do something, do a puzzle. I know one of my friends does, she does puzzles, you know. Everybody has, but there are some people that just sit in their chair and they just they waste away.
So you were extremely active, especially, once you stopped the smoking and the donuts.
Oh
And
yeah.
then how long did you, like, are you still active? What has your sporting life looked like? Your physical training? Because Jack said aging is a sport. You've done it well.
Got a
How
trick
have you
for it.
got this far?
Good idea. Good question. You know, what I do, I can still do my core, although I have a bone on bone knee that it's too late for me to get a knee operation. But I have certain ways I do things. I don't take any pills. I don't take. I have macular. I have hard of hearing, but I have a very strong core. And I think having a strong core is very important because that's the core of your body. And so you want to keep that strong. And so I try to keep now, a lot of people can't even do one, but I can do 20 jackknives. I can still do that. So I do those every day. I do knees into chest. I do a lot of I stand and I do my knees into chest. I do leg lifts. I do, in the gym, I pull down. I have to pull down and I have a treadmill. But if I'm just in and then I do a lot of stretching. I do a lot of, I do a lot of, really stretching and I try, and the older you get, the more you need to stretch. I found.
Amen.
I'm telling you,
Yep.
even the fingers. I mean, I'm even doing this, and I'm doing, I'm doing all sorts of things because when I was younger, I didn't have all these stiffness in my body.
Tight,
So
yeah.
in order to keep it supple as much as I can, I do a lot of stretching, and I do, and I find that even now at 98, I'm getting a little. This gets tight in here, so I'm doing a lot of exercises for my face, and so and then I even exercise underneath my eyes. I just girls just lightly put it on this bone, lightly. Don't press. Light. There's a little bone right there. Okay, now open and close your eye.
Yeah, I feel that.
So working, you have 55 muscles in your face, and how many people they think about the rest of their body, but they don't think about their face. And I think about my face, not that I'm trying to be anything that I'm not, but I mean, I've always, do this, and then on the sides you could just lightly, you just touch lightly, and then open your eyes. So those are.
So for our listeners out there, if you could see us all right now, we're touching our face and blinking our
blinking.
eyes.
Yeah.
I used to lecture a lot, and I'd say, and people would be, and after I'd finish, I'd say, "Well, any questions?" Well, people would be shy, and so I said, "Okay, give me a body part." So, oh boy, everybody could raise their hand about a body part. So then I would give them an exercise for a body part, So there's always a way to get people moving,
Yeah, and I want to talk about or ask you, Lala, about the fact that you and Jack, like your whole time, that part of your life, y'all were working together, your husband and wife, and then you're also working together, building this brand, this company, and that, and having a marriage relationship. And so, running a business is not for sissies, right? It's not running a business.
Oh, not for sissies. No.
Yeah. So yeah, tell us some
but
about just the whole running a business and doing it with your spouse.
when you're running a business, there's always something that comes along that just feels like it crashes, you know, and you think, oh my gosh, okay, now what, you know? But you just have to, you know, there's always a way of getting around things, as I said before, you know. There's a tree in the road, you're not gonna, you know, you've got to get around that tree, or you got to get around this, whatever the situation is. So that's the only way I can think of doing it. So um, I'm a big advocate of the mind. Jack and I tell everybody said, "Oh boy, what a body he has! Oh boy!" I said, "Honey, I didn't fall in love with his body. I fell in love with his brain." You know, and this is, and we had a meeting of the minds. You know, he said one of his sayings is, "Your mind is a mine. It's full of diamonds, and all you have to do is dig them up." So he was always a one-liner, you know.
Yeah.
And he
Such
said,
an evangelist with his words. Wow.
keep it simple, keep it simple, you know. So that's what I tried to do when I wrote his writings, all his writings in my last book, Pride and Discipline, with Greg Justice. I uh, uh, I tried to put everything concise, his writings in concise, and make it flow. But the theme, there's a lot of stuff about me and my alcoholics and all this stuff, but it's not. But I kept it, concise, and so everybody gets the picture, but they don't have to go through a lot of wordy stuff. You know,
He was to the point.
you get the picture of the life and my family, and you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger has something in there, and a whole lot of Ken Cooper and a whole bunch of people have in Pride and Discipline. But that's one of my pride and joys. But I've written
Prime Discipline. So anybody listening, if you need some good reading this summer, Prime. Say again.
Yeah, you can get it from Amazon. But I've written 7 books. My first books were, you know, about exercises and eat, you know, and recipes and whatnot, and juicing, and so these last 2 books I wrote in the last 6-7 years was the one Pride and Discipline was with.
Isn't she amazing?
Huh? Oh, this is my son.
We were gonna. I was like, "There's somebody behind you." Just FYI. I was hoping he was not gonna kidnap you or something.
Well, we can use some extra cash.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh, should we warn Lala?"
He's as bad as Jack. He's another one. He's one-liners, you know.
So listeners, Elaine had a guest and behind her. Her son is in the room, sneaking up on her.
But you've been prolific with writing as well, is what we were left off with. Is you've written several books.
I was writing. The book. Let's see, with Jamie Breckes. If you want to live, move. That was Jack's line, but Jamie added, putting the boom back into boomers.
I love that.
And then the Pride and Discipline. Came out the last 6 years. You know, that took me 3 years to write Pride and Discipline, and a couple of years with Jamie with the Boomer book. But
you don't slow down, Elaine. You don't slow down.
I'm never going to write another book. And guess what? Now I got another book I have to finish. That Jack and I started in 2004, and then he passed away. We never did anything with it. So I got up to 1970, and that's it. It's still sitting there to be finished. So
wow,
always have a project. I guess that's why I can't die.
You got to finish.
You got way too much, way too much going on.
Lala, would you take us through a day in a life? I'm so curious as to what fills your day as a 98-year-old
with all these projects.
Oh my gosh! Well, that fills my day. You know, I have, I have the gym in the house, so I can do pull downs and I can do a treadmill and whatnot. But and then I have a massage table that I don't get down on the floor anymore. I go on that and do my jackknives and whatnot. But that go in the gym. I get up.
What time do you get up, Lala?
I get up and I go in the gym. I eat some breakfast. I'm a little slower these days because I don't move as fast. So it takes me with this leg and everything. I don't move fast, so it takes me a lot longer than it used to be. I used to be like him, he's like a fly. I never know. He flies in and flies out. But and then I do my, as I say, my exercises, and then like this morning, I had a podcast before you at 11 o'clock, and then I went in and had a little bite, and then now I do this now, and after that, then I have still some other things to get out for the jumping jack challenge.
Yes, we are
let's
going to
dive
talk
in.
about that.
What is this jumping jack challenge you speak of, Lala?
Every year at Idea, at their convention, I give away the Jack LaLanne Award, and ever since he passed away, I accepted it for him. And then every year they wanted me to do one for. So the Idea Award this year is going to go to Gilad Jakowicz, the one that bodies.
Oh yeah, I know Gilad. I used to work out with Gilad, so he's going to be the recipient of the Jack LaLanne.
Jane Fonda was our first one, but
wow.
Throughout the years, I've given this award. And so now this year, we've come up with the idea of Drisha. She does a lot of PR for us with these. She came up with this idea years ago, actually. When Jack died, she said, you cannot have a moment of silence. You got to do jumping jacks.
Love it.
This year, they're going to do jumping jacks, and Poland has the record, the world record for 2,251 people doing jumping jacks, all at the same time, simultaneously. And so we want to break that record, and we're going to do it down at the convention center in Los Angeles. It's at the Idea Fit Convention, and it's going to be on the 11th to the 14th. We're going to do it simultaneously at 1 o'clock on the 12th.
Friday the 12th.
Of July, 12th of July. And we want everybody to sign up because we won't know how to count you unless you sign up. And so we ask you to please sign up. Now, if you're not going to jump, if you're just going to jump with your group or where you go to work out or wherever you are, and you can get a group together, we'd like that group. I don't care if you're in Washington, D.C., if you're in wherever you are, you can still sign up at jacklalanne.com. And then if you want to sign up to go to LA, you want to make sure you sign up with Idea Fit, the convention. And it's going to be on the 11th to the 14th, but we're going to do it on the 12th at 1 o'clock. And we hope you all do it. And
I'm going to be there.
We want everybody to join. It's going to be fun.
And people can do it online. That's the great thing. Even if you can't make it to LA, if you can make it to LA, absolutely. We'll have links for the Idea Fit. We've actually, we did an interview with Amy Boone Thompson already.
You did one with Amy. Well, you know about it.
Yes. So we go back and check that interview out where we talk about the Idea Conference, and then we'll have links for that in the show notes. So when you're listening to this,
down there, right?
What now?
One of you is going to be there.
I'll be there.
Allie will be there.
Yeah. And then so Jack popularized the jumping jack. So that's another.
People say Jack invented the jumping jack. No, he didn't. He popularized it because the jumping jack's been going on for, oh my gosh, since the 1800s somewhere,
As the star, like a star jump.
Yeah, star jumper, whatever, it's,
Yeah.
but
But most people know it as a jumping jack, and that's due to Jack.
right, and because he popularized his opening of his show, on our website, jacklalaine.com. The first thing you see is him going, because that's his silhouette that was on his show. He opened it up, and so that prompted so many this ideas, to have this jumping jack. Yeah, beat that record. We want to beat that record, right?
I know that the record is going to be beat absolutely on June the, let's see, we said
July 12th.
I mean July, not June.
PST.
July 12th at 1 p.m. And we will have links for people to sign up and do it virtually if they can't make it to LA. And we will.
I'll be there. I think. Denise Austin's going to be there. A lot of celebrities will be there, and so it's going to be exciting. So.
And we're doing 98 in honor of your birthday that you just had.
Yeah,
98 jumping jacks.
And you don't have to do 90.
And you don't have to do, but if you, up to 98.
You know what? Because of my leg, bone on bone, I can't jump. But I'm gonna move my knees and I'm gonna go.
There you go. Yes. So I love it. Everybody can participate. So even if we could do our eyes,
right?
We could do our eye jacks if nothing else, right? We can all participate.
Well, I think the bigger message is just that fitness is accessible to everyone everywhere. You don't have to have special equipment. You can use what you have where you're at and become more fit.
Did I give you my my harp? It's
no,
an arch rather. My arch, ARCH.
Okay.
Live, and the arch is for attitude. I mean, to begin with, the A. The A is for attitude. Okay. The second one is R. R is for resistance. Resisting the food that is undermining your health, and resistance. When you resist, then your muscle works for you, and then so that's your R. Now your C is for consistency. You be consistent about what you put in your body, the good food that you put in the body. Consistency about your workouts. So that's an arc. And then you met John just a minute ago. He says, "Mom, why don't you put an H on there and make it harmony?" And because that would be heart, the H would be for, if you do all these things, then you're going to have harmony. So there you go.
So Elaine, when did you come up with the arch?
Maria Shriver asked me to give 3 words, and on her newsletter. So I came up with ARC, and that's what's out there with her. But then that's when John said, why don't you put an arch on it, an H, harmony." So that's how I got it.
I want to find out. I know there's something else that we need to talk about, Elaine, that I want to know more about. There's a movie, because you're 98 and you are still working. You have so many projects going on. Tell us about this documentary. Is that something you can speak on?
Well, there's not much to say. Everybody knows about, it's been out there in the news and whatnot, that we're doing. First of all, we're going to do the documentary on Jack's life with Mark Wahlberg's company, which is Unrealistic Ideas, and that's in the works. And then the movie is to come out afterwards, probably. But it takes time for these things.
Sure.
Things. Sometimes, have you ever seen these Academy Awards where they say it took us 10 years or 15 years to get the movie out? So I may be gone by the time it comes. I don't know, but I can't any more than that. That everyone knows.
Yeah, they've been working on it, and so that's going to be coming out.
It's in the works.
It's in the works.
Lala, if you had a wish for our listeners today, what would it be?
Well, as you know, I'm very concise about things, and I like them short and sweet and to the point. Keep moving. Keep moving. Because if you don't move, you atrophy. And we don't want you to atrophy. We want you to move and stretch and be supple. Make your body supple.
Well, I love your arch principle because that also includes your mind, because the movement is important, but so is the attitude and consistency and or attitude, resistance, consistency, and it'll bring harmony. So I just love that arch principle.
What moves your finger? Your mind. So there you go. You just said it, and it all just starts.
Works.
Jack always said everything starts between your ears. That's how I believe anyway too.
And that would be my wish for our listeners, is stay in the works, because Elaine LaLanne is not slowing down at 98, and she has all these projects, and she's got another book coming out, and I just love that. There's no retiring in you, LaLanne. You're just keeping it going.
Yeah, I'm trying, and I hope I hope you're listening today. If you're ready to give up, do not give up. There's always tomorrow. How many times have you gone to bed at night and thought, oh, and then you wake up in the morning and, oh, it's a new day and everything looks good,
The mind.
Look at life. Yeah, everything is good. Everything is beautiful. And you look at it that way, you'll be a happier person. Did you know you have 3 ages? You have your chronological age, your age in years. Then you have your physical age, in your how you feel at present, how you feel. And then your psychological age, how you feel mentally. And so you forget the actual age and concentrate on the other 2, and you got it made.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Allie, on Instagram at Allie Curve Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shauna, on Instagram at Shauna Kaminsky. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback. If you're enjoying the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, please subscribe and share it with other health-minded women. Ratings and reviews are also much appreciated and help us get our message out to a larger audience.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.